Hey everybody, Chaos Giga here, and it's been a long time since I've actually logged into this game, but we're gonna do it today because I need to go over some things. I wanted to make sure that Move Games, since they're starting to do YouTube videos again, or at least they did one YouTube video again. I don't know why. They just decided out of the blue to start, I guess, kind of communicating with the fan base again. I don't know, players, whatever. So I'm going to try to reach out with them and see if this stuff actually gets looked at. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm not going to hold my breath because the last few times I've done videos on the gaming issues, optimization issues, and just pure glitches and bugs of the game, just because mostly it's because of optimization and by retrospect of the game. Because I've been with the game since its inception, before the beta days and all that stuff. So, but without further ado, before I even get started on this, I just want to make note that this is all my personal opinion of my years of playing the game. So if you're new to the game, or you just joined the game like years later than before it first came out, you probably have different opinions, and that's completely fine. But I'm basing everything on how I've played the game from like the first days. So I can tell you what used to be easier than what is now hard. So, like, for example, let's just go ahead and throw this out there. For example, Digimon, okay? So Digimon used to be a dungeon, an instance dungeon, where we could just jump in there and constantly farm it over and over again. And I know that there was a cheat system or something that was thrown out there by, I'll just throw it out there, Blue Macro or something like that is what it was called. And people used to like farm it by using a computer program called Blue Macro. They would use that to auto farm the COD, and I guess in order for them to fix that, because they couldn't come up with any other options, they decided to make it a ticket dungeon now. But by doing that, they also changed the drops and stuff in there. So they took out like backup discs and stuff. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves is Digimon, the changes that they did to it, because I could actually farm way more backup discs in a week for all my logins of the game than I can now, and I will get into that when I get to cloning and stuff. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this. The first thing I want to cover is the ride modes. So this is like the one thing that's been bugging me since like the beginning of the game being released. Is every once in a while the ride modes would work just fine, right? So we'd be able to walk through the portal, and our tamer, I think it's our tamer is what it's caught on to. Or either that, or else they've just like completely removed the ability for you to just walk through on a ride mode for some of these portals, which is kind of dumb. It's redundant, to be honest, because there's a lot of portals through the game that you can actually walk through with your tamer up high. But then there's even more in the old areas and in the new areas where you can't walk through unless you hop off your ride mode, and that is completely and just utterly annoying in this game. That's one of the most common like glitches and bugs that keeps popping back into the game, and I wish they just optimize it and fix all the portals throughout the game, where it's just it's really simple. Just make a big old square instead of a round circle down somewhere where the tamer can just be it notices the tamer and you can just get through, you know? It's really simple. Okay, so next up on my list is quest bugs. Now, I'm only going to cover this one quest line because this one right here has been in the game since the inception of the game. So for over almost 10 years, basically, it's been in this game. Right here at the maze entrance, we have this, you can pull up the map, right? You're supposed to be able to see your main quest markers and stuff like that. The main quest marker in this area, it has been annoying to me ever since the inception of the game, just because it's on the Chief Leomon that walks up and down this path here, and well, you don't see it. It does not show up on the map. Those main quest markers do not show up on the map. They never have, and they never will, apparently. Because I think we've pointed this out. Lots of players, old-time players, have pointed this out for years, and it's never been fixed. So anytime new players come in the game and I see them on Discord and they're constantly complaining about the fact they can't find the main quest for Digimon Maze Entrance so they can open the maze. And I have to literally, if I'm on the same server as them, hopefully, I have to literally walk out here and show them that on this path here, this is the path I'm talking about, that Leomon walks up and down, and he's going to have all your main quest, or a majority of your main quest. And the other thing is, they don't point out where the other Leomons are when they're moving on the map out here, that they have to like use an item on or something, and they don't even tell them that they have to use an item on them. So this is the most annoying quests area in the entire game for me. I'm sure there are several other quest bugs in the game, so if there are, just leave them in the comments section down below in this video, because there's just no way I could cover all of the problems with all the quests in the game, because I know there's a lot of them. And I'm not even going to lie, there's just so many of them they need to rebounce or revamp and all that, and just change. Alright, so the next thing on my list I want to cover is I just went back to Data Center, is the cloning system. This has been my biggest enemy in the game since it was first introduced. The game itself, basically, because it came out with the game. But the probability of success, it's decreased so much now, and plus the fact that we have to now spend actual in-game currency on top of actually doing the clone now is just annoying. So basically, you have to have backup disk for anything over the level D. Otherwise, you have a chance for you to fail and then be pushed back to the D level. And that's why we need backup disks. That's why they're very important. And the most annoying thing about the cloning system now is how they've changed how we get backup disks. And basically the best way to do that is either through events or do colo. Now, for new tamers that just started playing the game and they're playing free-to-play only, and they're not wanting to waste money on backup disks that we used to be able to farm commonly from the Crack of Digimon instance dungeon. Well, it's going to be super hard for them to get into Colo without either having to pay 2 Terras or hopefully and luckily find a decent guild that's willing to carry them, which I am totally against. There should be a solo aspect in the game for us to farm these backup disks. I've said this I don't know how many times over the years. Just depending on other people to help me do stuff. So like, this is basically like me in Terra, and I'm trying to farm for an armor items to upgrade my armor that I just farmed with my party in a dungeon. So literally, you want to have help to do the dungeon to get the armor, but you shouldn't need help to get the items to upgrade it. It never makes sense to me in this game where I have to have help to get the items that are going to upgrade my Digimon. I should have to do that on my own. I should have a way to do that on my own. And that's where Crack of Digimon Instance Dungeon was okay with me. Because I'm doing the work, I'm doing all that myself. I don't have to worry about boring other people to death trying to farm this item that is necessary for me to move my Digimon up to another level. Or like with armor, moving it up to the next tier. And it's always annoyed me this way with this. But anyway, we go to enchant with the backup disc and a clone item here, and we get this little mini card game. I never choose the cards because literally all the time it's always a failure, but I let it just count down all the time because I seem to have better chances at the success. But I mean, I've always hated this stupid card game thing. I always felt like they should just do a 50-50. You either succeed or you don't. I don't know why we have to do the gambling. We have to pay the bits and stuff because, as you see, it's 30 megs, and you're going to run through like 20 Terras real easily just doing these clonings. And I don't think the game developers even realize just how bad this system is. If they do, it's really, really sad that you guys are just like not touching it or fixing it. It's been broken for years. And it's so annoying. And the other thing I really hate in this game is the movement speed, but that's another pet peeve in all of itself. The other system I hate besides the cloning system is the hatching system. And this brings me to one aspect of the cash shop, which I'm going to hark on right now, and that's the eggs. I'm sorry, but if I'm going to spend like $5 to $10 on something, it should be guaranteed to be something. It shouldn't be like guaranteed to be 3, 4, or at 5. It should be guaranteed to be 5 out of 5 if I'm paying cash for it. Considering how hard it is just to get a 5/5 with a normal egg, it should not be that hard if you're putting cash into a game. That's just a simple give me right there. If I'm purchasing something, it should be guaranteed to be the top tier of that item. So I think Move Games should look into that as well. The hatching system on that whole deal is just it's broken beyond belief. But I mean, I understand they're not going to change the hatching system. It's the way it is. It's the way it's going to stay, and that's fine. I'll farm the eggs and I'll hatch them the old-fashioned way. That's fine by me. But we're going to go back into the cloning aspect here, and that is with Colo. And the reason why I hate Colo is because, well, the majority of the reason why I hate Colo isn't because that we have to do it for backup discs. It's the fact that we are doing it for points. It's a points-based system, and I don't think people understand why I hate this. Since it's a points-based system, I have to gather more points than a lot of other players that are doing the same thing. They're doing it for a dick measuring contest. That's what I've always said. That's what this is, basically. This is your PvP right here for Demo. And I'm totally against PvP. I hate PvP of all sorts when it comes to MMOs because I'm no good at it, alright? I never have been, never will be, whatever. Not going to participate. But basically, my hand's being forced into doing Colo, even as a new player. If I just come into the game, I'm going to have to do Colo at some point towards my mid game because I need those backup discs in here. And literally, the point system screws you over because you maybe get 10 to 20 tickets, vouchers. You'll get 20 if you're really lucky. I've always done this to 35 or 40. Whether with a really decent party or just by myself to 35. I can do 35 by myself, by the way, with nothing on. But I generally get about 10 to 12 weekly vouchers, okay? So let's look at how many of these backups I can get. 3 per voucher, right? So I can get maybe 30 to 36 backups every week. And then, so that's 72, it's 144. And then on top of that, if I'm lucky, I might get another like 10 for the monthly. So the monthly vouchers, I think, pay out something in here as well. Yeah, 6. So another 60. So maybe 200 and some. It's a little bit over 200. It's over 300. It's almost 300, I think. So it's really close to, you can get really close to like 300 backup discs in a month. And I don't get why there's some people that are like, I don't know if they're confused or what, but when you were farming COD, if you did it every single day for the 3 hours you had to stay logged into the game like I did, by myself, I just farmed that, I could literally get 200 boxes a day, if not more, if I kept going, because you can go after your prizes are in too, and I would do that. I could literally farm. After opening all the boxes at the end of a week, I could literally farm over 1,000 backup discs per week. That's putting in my own effort, my own time. I don't have to bug anybody else to help me do that. But now I have to depend on having a decent party or wasting a lot of like healing items in this thing here, and it's a points-based system, so everything is against me because there's so many people on this server. I'm not going to get enough vouchers to do enough damage to those backup discs. And it can literally take 2,000 backup discs just to get the clone that you're wanting on your Digimon. Especially if you want to like perfect clone attack or something. You're going to need over 2,000 backup discs, and you're going to need just as many clones. Now clones aren't the problem, because we could literally go out and farm the clone boxes in like Maze, and there's other locations where they drop to. I can't remember now. I think Server Continent Desert or Pyramid area. I think it drops them too. And but anyway, the clones are not the problem. It's the backup discs. That's the biggest problem now. Ever since they've taken them out of Crack of Devimon and taken that instance dungeon away, it's really detrimental to new players. It's detrimental to people that are basically haven't been playing for years. Now, I had to unfortunately delete a bugged account because your support told me to, so I've had to start over, and I know just how hard it is now to get backup discs. It's so annoying that I've literally quit playing because of the fact that that's something that's necessary for me to move my game to mid-game and then to end-game. I have to have a really decent clone on a lot of mons, and I just don't. The highest level clone I've got right now is level 11, and that's where I've had to stay at because my backup discs are just non-existent. I can't get them fast enough. So I've literally just stopped playing the game again because of your cloning system. And that's the biggest problem I have with your game right now, is the cloning system. I don't know about anybody else, but I just don't want to have to depend on Colo, which is a points-based system, for me to try to get enough tickets to get so many backup discs, and it's not even near as many as I could get before. So I think they should just make a new dungeon that gives us a guaranteed drop of so many backup discs per day, or just gives us the instantaneous box of a probability of chance of getting a backup disc plus other rare items. And I was going to bring up something else that I hate about another system, and that is the seal system. Now, don't get me wrong, I like this system. I like where it's going. I like the fact that we have all these seals, and they're easy to farm in most areas for a majority of them, except for the ones that are in the dungeons, but I'm not even going to talk about dungeons right now. But basically, this is a decent system. I did like it when they started making these seals actually start counting towards our stats, because it was necessary because of the fact of all the rebounces they did, and then the dungeons they were coming out with were super hard because of the fact that we didn't have enough of these stats. The problem with this system is now the seal openers. They're only in 2 locations, unless you post them in an event for us to get, which is very rare. We can also get them with the rare coins in the gachas, but they're very rare in there as well. And I think it's like 5 per if you're lucky, and that's when you get them. So 5 seal openers per like 1 rare coin if you're lucky. The other way is to get them from an event, like I said, or a cash shop. That's the only place we have to get them. I honestly think you should put some sort of dungeon in here, which has like 2 to 3 tickets a day, and it gives us a chance at 1 seal opener per day. We should at least be guaranteed 1 seal opener from those 2 to 3 runs a day. That's not asking too much, I don't think. I think that will still make it to where if people want to speed up faster, they'll have to put money into your cash shop and buy seal openers. That's fine. I'm not against that. But what I am against is the fact that you're holding people back because of these things you don't have in the game that are necessities. And that's the biggest problem with free-to-play. You guys are just focusing on ways to make money off of these systems that are necessities for players to actually move their game forward. And instead of that helping your game, it's just hindering it because it's pushing people away. Because most things that you would need, like on your armor and stuff in another game, for example, like Terra, it's another free-to-play game. Your armors and stuff, you don't put that stuff in a cash shop. If you do that, you just pushed your players away. And Terra learned the hard way that way when they started putting their elements and stuff in the cash shop and requiring you to buy those instead of go out and farm them like we used to. And then they went belly up and they got bought out by another company just recently because of that. So now this company has actually put those things back in the game, and they've actually gotten rid of a lot of those element things completely, because now we can just do this one thing called fusion or something like that, where we fuse 2 armors together. But anyways, I'm getting off track here. To get back on track, basically we just need a place to go and farm at least a seal opener a day. I don't see that being a problem. I honestly don't. I don't know why we don't have that in the game already. So the next thing I wanted to cover was the dungeons. The thing I want to cover about the dungeons basically is the fact that there is little to no information out there really, except for what's on the wiki, and I really don't like the wiki too much because whenever you guys update the dungeons, you just don't have enough information for us to understand exactly what we're doing. I think everything gets lost in translation, because I know it's probably hard for you to translate from your Korean language to English. Obviously, it's difficult for me to translate from Korean to English as well, but I like the fact that you guys got this, okay? I wanted to point this out to you for this dungeon system that I'm getting ready to tell you guys about. So basically, you've put everything in here, all the information we need for a lot of the Jogger's quests that we can do inside this game. And this lays it out pretty perfectly. We go in, we click on the Digimon, and it lists out everything that we need, where the quest starts, right? Why can't we do this for the dungeons? Why can't we have like a dungeon list where we just go in and it tells us exactly what we need for the party, what we should, recommendations for what we should have in a party of people for these dungeons, recommendations of gear, stats that we should have. There's just a lot of loss here, because I mean there's times where we go into a dungeon completely blind. We have no idea what we're doing, and we're trying to figure out how to do the dungeon for the first time, right? And we don't have any info on it. All we can do is go off of what's on the wiki, because most videos that are up on YouTube have either been taken down or those channels have been deleted. So there's no information on how to do some of these dungeons. I'm not talking about the lower end dungeons. I'm talking about in-game dungeons. I'm talking about the mid-tier dungeons, like for Dandy. So like where you go to fight Yggdrasil and all that stuff there, for the X Digimons, for Death Xmon, where you fight him. So dungeons like that, they should have some. You guys should have some sort of listing in here, kind of like this, similar to this, that lays everything out, basically on a silver platter. Just lets us know what the requirements are for us to be in there. And if we look at that and we notice that we're missing something, or we can't stack up for that in a guild or whatever, then we know that we can't do it yet, right? We won't try it. We won't waste our time. We won't waste our health items or anything like that. It should also list the attacks that are in there too. That's something that I think we should need, because the fact that there's some one-hit skills in there, I feel like that nobody knows about, and it just happens, and then everybody dies, and then we get mad because we don't know what happened. We don't know if the healer missed a skill, a health skill, or if there's a one-hit skill in there or something like that we have to avoid. Just nothing, no information, and we need that. We need that in the game. Okay, I just remembered something about the dungeons. I know there's a bug or a glitch of some kind. It's still around to this day, where if you go into the dungeon and you use an HP skill or something like that to up your health or whatever, and you heal yourself and you get full HP, right? It's still on. Sometimes you come out and you go back in and you lose half your HP, or you lose so much of your HP that you have to just like de-digivolve and then re-digivolve all the way back up to your Jogress, and that becomes wasteful because you just used your last like Jogress waste chip. You know what I'm saying? So I wish you guys would work on some optimization for like the stat bars on the Digimon, and just make it to where you clean the cache of your dungeons, basically, because I noticed that there's a lot of times we go in the dungeons and either it glitches up to where the boss Digimon goes down to 0 HP and yet he doesn't die. So we just have to die in order to get out of the dungeon. Or basically we lose HP down to from full HP to 0, or we just lose so much of our HP, like 50% or so much percentage of it. It just happens randomly. So it's like jumping from one area to the next, or jumping from the train center into the dungeon, like the Fanglongmon dungeon or something like that. So basically that glitch is still around, and I wish you guys would do something about that. I've done so many videos and sent so many videos to your support team. They should have plenty of information for that. I don't know why that's never been fixed. But that's all I got for that. I know it's still around because there's still people that complain about it on my Discord. There's still people that complain about it on my YouTube. And I don't know how to fix it because it's your game. But obviously it's there, and you guys are just not doing anything about it. And I honestly think it's something to do with the optimization of the dungeons. I think you guys just need to clear the caches in them. I don't even know how your dungeons work, but I'm pretty sure it's similar to most other free-to-play MMOs, where basically it's running on a cache, and when you're doing your maintenance, you're supposed to clear those caches so that way you don't have these issues, but we still do, for some reason. Anyway, moving on to the wiki. Okay, so guild system. When they first came out with the guild system, I was pretty hyped about it, but it's been lackluster ever since it's been released. Literally all we can do is basically all guilds are basically for right now is just friends. You find people you like to play with, you find friends, real life friends, and you join up in this guild thing, and so you can tell when each other's on. You can try to get together and do dungeons, but most of the time nobody's going to be really on at the same time, so you're still struggling to do the dungeons and stuff like that. And there's another thing I did have an idea for the dungeons too, and I should have said that earlier, but let me say it right now, and that is a way to like join up with people that are looking for a dungeon party. So basically a queue. I'd like to see a queue put in the game so we can try to join up with other teams or people that are looking for players instead of having to shout it all day in the chat. That would be nice to have in there. But anyway, the guild system, it's just completely useless right now. The only thing it's good for is just to see when your friends are online, talk to them, and be able to actually try to get together on a party or figure out what you're going to do, where everybody's at. And then, of course, you can see how active they are, but that's about it. That's where it stops. Just activity and friendships. That's it. This has been teased about being fixed up to where we'd have like added stats and skills. And I'd actually love to see that, considering it'd make up for the lack of cloning and the lack of the fact that you're able to unlock seals so quickly. Because we're not able to do any of those things quickly anymore. So you can make up for that if you actually upgraded your guild system to include like some sort of level for how much activity we've got in the game for logging in and doing things. If the master and the submasters could use the activity level to put them in a certain like group for, like, let's say you had a experience buff. So if I've got like one of the lowest points, so like from 0 to like 3,200, I can give the guild a bonus 200% experience when I'm logged in or something like that. Or when I'm in your party, I give you another bonus 200% experience, and so on and so forth. But as you go up, the benefits are better, right? Get more HP, more DS or attack, skill damage. You know, all those things that you add with the skills. Why not put those on here and then add some like new skills when we get to like the top rank here, rank 1. Add some like guild skills, you know. So like instant transport to me, teleport. They can bring that back. I don't see what the point was in taking that out. It was pretty useful at some point in time. I guess it's kind of lackluster now, but because we have the all area jump boosters. But at any rate, just like some sort of skills and stuff that would be usable, because of the fact that not everybody can like go off and just like buy these skill capsules, and not everybody can afford this stuff. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, most of the stuff that you basically need in the game is just it's lackluster. It's in the cash shop, and you need those for in-game things. So you're just basically stuck doing middle game things. This could be a way to like mitigate that by adding some things into the guild system. And I know that was teased about a long time ago. I think it was over 5 years ago. Somebody did a video because they went to your all's headquarters back before you bought out Game King, and they did a video on all the things you guys had planned, but we still haven't seen anything for this guild system at all. There's no benefits to it whatsoever, and it's completely useless. And I'd love to see something happen to this system. There's so many things that could be done to it to where it could help benefit others, and I think that needs to be done. It's something that needs to be done. And it's not going to hurt nothing in the game. There's no way. Unless you like overpower it too much because you're not knowing what you're doing because you don't play the game, then that's the only way you'd break it. So, but that's my take on the guild system. We'll move on to the next thing here. Alright, so I had to put this on the seal system page for the demo wiki just because the fact that this next thing I'm going to cover is probably one of the most talked about things in the game. And it's the most ridiculous that's been overlooked since the Joymax days. Joymax used to be like the best at preventing this from happening, and I have no idea where it got out of hand, but the botting. The botting in the game has just become so bad, especially on the busiest server, Omegamon. One of the busiest servers. I can't say it's the busiest, because I guess Lucimon sometimes gets busy too, but at any rate, it's there, and we know it's there because you guys don't have enough channels to like make up for it. And what I'm getting at there is the quest. There's a lot of main quests that people have to do. Like areas in File Island where the Cherrymons are. I can't remember what that area is called, so if you guys know what it is, you can yell at me later for it. But basically, people are always there. Either they're legitimately farming the Cherrymons, or there's some bots there. I know there's bots there too, but there's some people that are actually legitimately farming for the Cherrymon seals because they need them themselves. But there are bots there actually farming them just so they could sell them in their shops, which runs the player market, but we'll get into that next. But these bots are preventing people from doing the main quest line because they're in the way. And there's not enough channels. There's like 1 to 3 channels at max in all these areas. And so they're always full channels. They're always full in that area. So you can't ever get the quest done unless you just happen to log in after an update and pray that the bot program has been like removed from the game because the game was shut down for the maintenance, and then you get back in real early if you can after the maintenance is over, and then you can actually get the quest done. So leading to this is the fact that in Maze, so like in the Maze, there's a lot of bots in there for sure. and there's a lot of people in there that are just moving so fast you can't keep up. They're hitting the mons before they come out of the ground, so that's how you can tell they're botting. As well as the other methods that you know out there. So like macros, people are using macros, which I used to be guilty of that. Whatever. But the problem is just getting quest lines done. You can't do it when there's not enough channels, and I think that'd be a partial fix to what the problem is. The other part of this would be to just start getting rid of the bot program. Start having a program that's running there and trying to catch these people doing these. I know Blue Eye Macro is still a thing. It's still alive. It's still there, and it's not being taken care of. But I mean, literally, you just need more channels for sure. And I know there's other free-to-play games out there I've played that have like 20 to 30 channels in each area. So I don't know why Demo has never upgraded to that many channels. I don't see what the problem is there, especially since you guys are running a cloud server now. Cloud servers are basically free, so I don't understand how come you don't have that many channels. But it is what it is. I don't own your game, so I don't know. But still, I mean, you got to fix these problems if you want to retain new player base that you're trying to bring in. And at the same time, if you want to keep players who are trying to legitimately play the game and farm for these things that these bot programs are farming. Because what that does is these people are the only ones getting the stuff, and then that carries over to your player market in the shop system. The shop system and the market is so broken in like almost all the servers. You have to just basically wait for somebody to flip the market to lower prices down, and then it just makes them mad. But I mean, I just don't get why we need to let these bots just continue to do what they're doing and people to get away with it, because it's breaking everything, quest-wise and just like market-wise, and I've always hated that. And another thing I'd like to see for the market, the player market, and this is what I was going to get to with the player market, is like in all the other free-to-play MMOs and all the ones that are not free-to-play, the developers actually came up with prices for these items for what you should sell the item at. And I honestly think they should do that in this game, because it's getting a little bit ridiculous, especially when you guys I know there's items out there that they're going to buy for cash, and they spend like probably $3,000 to get one of these items, so they're charging like 20k Terra or whatever for it. Yeah, more power to them. I mean, I get it's an expensive item, but at the same time, I feel like there's people out there just legitimately abusing the system when it comes to buying real items, because we can't even trust the people to buy the real items now because they've been hacking them in or glitching them in, something like that, and people get banned for it. So I think you guys should just legitimately put a system in where it tells you how much to pay for that item. You should pay for that item or whatever, just so when you hover over it, that's how much it should cost, right? Come up with a fair like cent to bit ratio. That's what you should do. That's what most of these other games do, and I'd like to see that in this game too. But basically that's it for the player market, the botting. The only other two things I have are basically your support team. Get them trained. They need to be trained, like really bad. Your support is terrible. It's been terrible for years, and this is coming from somebody who actually has had their tickets answered in probably 2 weeks' time. So, and I know there's people out there that have been waiting for years for their tickets to be answered. And I don't know what the deal is with that. What's your support system supposed to be set up as? Automated only for people who don't spend any money, or is it supposed to be for people who only spend on Move Games website or Game King's website? Because I know if we're playing on Steam, they send us to the Game King website, because the Move Games website, the link to it is broken. Your guys' phone number, it's broken too. It never works. It's a disconnected number or whatever. I wish you guys would fix that. But basically, the support is just non-existent, and it needs to be revamped and fixed for a lot of the player base, I feel. Especially for those who were like wrongfully banned. When you guys knew that there was a problem with when you guys sold the Oguda packages, the Ogudamon packages, I lost a lot of friends in the game during that event. I know I wasn't playing at the time when you guys released it, but I know it was like a big deal for everybody to get that one, because it was like the first Triple S variant we got in the game. But two of my friends lost their accounts wrongfully after they purchased it on Steam. They literally purchased it from their Steam shop, and then anybody else that bought it from the Steam shop was basically literally banned. I don't get why that is, and I think you guys should actually open systems for like figuring out what happened there, what's going on, because obviously there's some sort of miscommunication on what's really being spent. I don't think you guys understand how cash works on Steam. There is ways to sell items on Steam from other games to make money to your cash wallet on Steam, and it may look like it's fake currency, but it's not. It's real money, and that's coming from Steam's website itself. So I think you guys need to educate your support team on that so you can stop wrongfully banning Steam players that are actually using their cash wallet and cash that they got from selling items in a legit market on Steam's website. Because it does exist, it is there. I don't know how many people I've told that you can literally go in and sell stamps, you can sell cards that you collect from your games that you're playing through, your awards and stuff that you win. If somebody wants that award, instead of having to like farm for it, they can just literally buy it from somebody else. It could be a ridiculous price from like 25 cents to $200 for one of those items, and I mean, it's legit. It's legit money. It's legit cash. But apparently there's no communication between your support and the Steam side of things, because if there was, you guys wouldn't wrongfully ban people for that stuff. And I feel like that's what's been happening a lot lately. So you guys might want to look into that, because obviously I know about it because I have friends that actually work for Steam and they know how this works. So I've talked to them about it, and that's what they were thinking from all these mass ban waves you guys had, is that you probably don't realize that cash that's coming from there, it's legit cash. It's just that you guys don't talk to them, so they don't know how to communicate with you because you're not talking to them. So that's a thing for you and your game to figure out. I don't really care at this point because I have stopped playing because of the cloning system. The last thing I got to cover, guys, and I'm sorry if I missed something. You guys want me to point something out. If I did, leave something down in the comments about it. Tell me what you guys think about what I covered. Basically, the last thing I have is events. The events for this game have been very, very lackluster. I mean, I am so sick and tired of the fact that the raids. You guys pop in these raids that have some kind of decent things, but really not decent things for like in-gamers, I'm sure. But they still come and do them anyway. But when you get a mass quantity of players on like Channel 0 for a single raid, the game crashes. It's going to crash because your optimization just is not there. It's lackluster. You guys haven't optimized this game for any of the new graphics cards. The 10 series graphics cards for GeForce. That's the last graphics card I was able to actually utilize on this game. My 20 series does not run the game. It's basically literally running off of my CPU. And trust me, my i9 can run it. But if you don't optimize the game, you're going to have a lot more optimization issues and crashes because of the dropped frames. And I think you guys need to optimize it to where we can have max frames per second, an unlimited amount of frames per second like Terra has done. Had done, I should say. I can run that up to 360 frames per second now. And when they do max raids like you're doing now, I can actually play with everything on. I don't have to minimize everything. I still minimize things anyway, just because it makes it easier to see the mob boss, and you can tell how much health it has left. But, I mean, it just makes things better. It makes it run smoother, and you don't have to worry about the game crashing on you, and then you miss out on some decent prizes in those kind of events. Now, the other thing that I really hate in your events is the fact that you give, like, the crappiest things. So, like, golden bananas. I mean, why? We literally can get those from monster cards and everything else in the game. We even get them from, like, regular daily quests and stuff. I don't see why you guys should be handing out, like, regular healing items that we get every single day in the game itself anyway. You guys need to start giving out things that actually matter, that are necessary to move people forward in the game. That's what events are supposed to do, in my opinion. They're supposed to help us move forward, not just, like, give us things that we can already get. Doesn't make sense why you guys do that. But I mean, you guys are stuck on like these probability things on every aspect of the game, including the free-to-play aspect. It's always a chance. It's not like a give me. And fine, if you want to go that way, fine. But still, you need to put things in there that people need. So like Joger's chips, Digiors that are like 30 days. Those would be great for prizes. Seal openers, backup discs. The list goes on. Reinforced clones. I mean, the best event ever in this game was when you guys did that bunny box for Easter, and we had those we had a chance at getting a reinforced or mega reinforced clone, a random one, out of each box, or we could get there's 2 other items. I think it was like a backup disc and seal opener in there as well. That was like the best event you guys ever hosted, and I'd really like to see you guys start changing your events to actually have things that we can use, or that can move our game up, can move us forward. And another thing for the events that I'd like to see is, well, not just events, just in the game, is permanent close. I get so annoyed that I log in and my clothes have timed out. It really irritates me because we used to have these infinity clothes, the clothes that would never time out from the old dungeons, the EDG and all that stuff. And I mean, those are necessities. Those are necessities for you to have. And some of us don't get to play every single day when we are playing. We don't get to play every single day, so we're wasting days on those costumes. And it really ticks me off that now all of our clothes and stuff, everything in the game is just timed. And the only thing I could put time on is basically clothes. Fine and dandy, but I mean, why should I have to bother wasting money or valuable time trying to get clothes all the time? It's just beyond me. That's like telling me I have to go buy armor on Terra. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to quit playing because I shouldn't have to buy it. I should be able to farm it in the game somewhere, and then once I got it, upgrade it. Yes, I have to farm for the upgrades and stuff like that for it. Why don't you guys just start doing an armor aspect on the clothing items? That would be so much better. But other than that, that's basically all I've got, guys. I don't know anything else to cover about issues and glitches. I'm sure there's plenty. You guys have problems with things that I haven't really noticed or called out here. By all means, leave it down in the comments section. Hopefully Move Games will look at this and maybe they'll disagree with me. I really don't care at this point because, like I said, I've just stopped playing the game entirely because ever since I started over as free-to-play only, and I can't get a clone level up to 15 because I can only get so many backup discs a month. Less than 300, and it takes like thousands of backup discs just to get one Digimon up to level 15. I'm not even trying for perfect, guys. I've already used over like almost 5,000 backup discs just trying to get one Digimon to 15 out of 15. I've got 3 stats that are at level 12 right now, and the 4th one is at level 11, and that's with using over 5,000 plus backups. And that I don't even know how many different clones I've used. I'm level 12 and level 11. That's where I'm at. That's basically all I can tell you. HP, I think I've left at level 3. It's perfectly cloned because I want to have his HP perfectly cloned. It's my Alter S. That's what I've been trying to clone. But I mean, ever since I can't get the backup disc like I used to in the old Instance dungeon, I just lost all faith in the game because I just don't want to have to do this Colo thing over and over again. It's a waste of my time and a waste of my healing items just to constantly farm this Colo over and over again and just only get 10 vouchers. I mean, 30 backup discs is just not enough per week for me on average, and that's what I'm averaging is about 30 backup discs a week. And I used to get so much more just by farming the old Instance dungeon, and that just annoys the hell out of me. So that's literally why I stopped playing again. But other than that, I know there's plenty of broken things in the game. That's the things that I wanted to put my opinion out there on. You guys can let me know what your opinion is. But that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next video if I ever do another one for DMO. Peace out.